Today we talk about how to resolve a state of mucosity or mucousness, or just a lot of mucus in the system, as a reason for not drinking enough. Okay, we talked about the fact that the third reason for not being able to drink enough, or the thirst mechanism going on the fritz, is, well, too much mucus in the system, which makes us feel like we have enough liquids when in fact we are dehydrated and actually paying the price, for instance, by creating more gallstones. So what can we do about all this mucus? Now, I guess I should divide between two different states. There is an acute state, like when you have, the flu, and, you have a lot of a runny nose that causes a lot of mucus temporarily just because you're sick for a few days. That's not the case we're talking about. If you have a short, focused case of mucus that just goes away, it's no big deal. That's not going to cause gallstones. That's not going to disrupt your thirst mechanism for very long. The second situation, which is a little more insidious because very often we don't know that we have mucus that much in the system, is when we are mucousy because of a general imbalance in our life. And here I would like to show three different aspects that can help us both understand the mucus and resolve it. Okay? So the first reason and solution is foods that are considered by the Chinese white foods. White foods are dairy, white sugar, white rice, all these industrialized foods that are actually too easy to digest, too sugary. And sugar and dairy, even more so, tend to create mucus directly. You can eat something and then feel all sticky inside just an hour later. And very often we won't feel the stickiness directly because the mucus will be in other places in the body. And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole of Chinese diagnosis of how to tell that you have mucus. We already discussed in the previous video about those three reasons for our thirst mechanism going on the fritz, that there is a very specific state for mucousy situations when it comes to, faulty thirst mechanism. It's that state where you can take a sip of water and you're not thirsty anymore. And it won't help if you take juice or teas or any other, alternative liquids. You're just feeling overhydrated, despite the fact that you were very thirsty a moment ago. Okay, that's the clear clue. So if you have such a clue, then the first thing to do is to remove all those mucus-making foods from your system. Tons of sugars, sweets, dairy. These are all things that the body could do without. Actually, it will be glad to be without them. Even if you have a thing about, hey, dairy is actually healthy, all you have to do is pick up one of the most central books to modern medicine. Harrison's The Principles of Internal Medicine. It's like the Bible of internal medicine. And if you go through it, you will see that every mention of dairy in this amazingly complex book is negative. There's nothing good to come out of dairy. Don't believe all the hype. So that's one thing. I told you there's three, right? The second thing is, is the weather around us. The weather around us can be very humid, more so with every decade. They say that the icebergs are, melting away and the sea will rise. Well, I believe there's been a bit of a mistake amongst all those scientists. The sea has already risen. It is in the air. The humidity in Israel right now is at least 10% above what it used to be a couple of decades ago. It's ridiculously sticky. And there's definite effect to our body when we are so humid on the outside. It goes inside. It's difficult to contain. And people who've ever lived up, somewhere in the mountains, in a dry, arid area, and then moved to a place that's right on the beach, well, they've all felt it. Well, that humidity becomes very heavy, harder to breathe, and feels all sticky inside. Now, we can't change the weather. We can go live back in the mountains, somewhere dry and arid, but let's be realistic. I'm not going to send you to start packing and looking for a better place to live. It's more practical just to be more consistent with your nutrition in a way that supports less humidity inside, and then you can live well with the humidity outside. It's just a balance, be more diligent. And there is one more tool that it'll make some of you laugh because it seems like totally out of context, but it's actually very powerful if you have a lot of mucousness. If you've already changed your diet and you're still feeling all sticky inside and having a hard time drinking, you can meditate. The Chinese have a very nice saying that says that the best way to tonify the spleen, the earth element as they call it, is to meditate. The more quiet you are, the stronger your digestive system, which is part of the spleen system in the Chinese medicine. Finally, semi-sound, the more you meditate, the more you'll be able to cope well with the climate. Of course, there is an easy way out if you're very, mucousy because you've had a bad bout of, visiting in Italy and eating too much pasta and pizza. There's always herbs. Chinese herbs have a wonderful way with mucosity. There's always acupuncture that can also help, etc., etc. So there are tools to help you. Just don't ignore the fact that you are in balance. Do something practical about it. And if you're not sure which of these options best suits you, you can always ask below. I'm available. I will be answering questions if you ask them. And if you don't want to miss the next episode, I've got lots of good things planned. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Ring that bell. Anyway, until the next movie, here's to you drinking well.